Hey, it's Pastor Mike. Before we get started with today's episode, I want to encourage you to check out our other Time of Grace podcasts, like this one, The Non-Microwaved Truth by C.L. Whiteside. CL just has an amazing way to bring fresh perspective to some of my favorite passages from the Bible. You can search for The Non-Microwaved Truth wherever you listen to your favorite podcasts. And now on to today's episode.
In this video series, I've been telling you the story of Ehud. He's this regular guy in Judges chapter 3, and in the last video, we talked about his kind of 007 James Bond thing that he did, where he comes in and brings this message of judgment upon this king, King Eglon, who was oppressing the Israelites. We read from the text of the Bible, it was kind of crazy, where it says that Ehud pushes in the sword into the gut of King Eglon, his fat covers over it, and we're like, that's not a story you'd tell in Sunday school. Well, here's the rest of the story. Once again, not a story you're going to hear in Sunday school, but after he cuts in, Ehud cuts into King Eglon, it says that the king's guts, spilled out. In other words, the contents of the intestines of King Eglon, oozed out of him onto the floor. I know it's a very graphic word, but it gets the point across about how just messy and nasty this was. But by the way, that's how Ehud made his escape at this point. So there's actually three different ways people think that he made his escape. So the king ends up dying, and Ehud locks the doors, and then some people think he rappels out of a window, which is possible. We don't know if it was a high 2-story, or he could have gone down some sheets or something. We don't know. It's possible. Some people think he locked the door and just walked past the soldiers all right, I'm done. See you later. And then just walked on. Other people think that he climbed out the sewer pipes. Think Andy Dufresne, Shawshank Redemption, kind of where you go poop, right? And that's where he's getting out. And part of the reason people think this is because, again, his intestines, the king's intestines spilled out. And the Bible tells us the soldiers then come up and the doors are locked and they waited outside. And the Bible even says that they thought the king was in the bathroom because it reeks so bad. They thought he was unleashing it in the bathroom, And the Bible even tells us that's how Ehud made his escape. Crazy, wild stuff in the Bible, but clearly this was a messy scene. And by the way, it can get messy when you serve Jesus. It can get messy when you go and you talk to that friend that you know, that you love, that is just struggling with life choices right now. And in a previous video, I gave you the encouragement to be the one that calls out sin for sin. And I want to warn you right now that it might get messy when you do that. People defend themselves. And one of the way they defend themselves is by attacking you. And that stops a lot of people. And maybe it stopped you. And you see your friend hurting and in need, and you go, I don't want that. I don't want to have it get messy. And yet God encouraged you to not worry about the mess, but instead focus on them and to focus on their need. Maybe this isn't a perfect analogy, but it kind of works. I think it does. When you're cleaning your room, what happens? If your bedroom's a mess and you're I gotta fix this thing. And you make a bigger mess, right? You pull stuff out and you put it over here, you don't put it away, and you come back in later it's worse. But eventually the room gets clean. Time and focus, it gets clean. I want to warn you that things are going to get messy, more than likely, but don't be afraid of the mess. In God, the powerful Lord God, creator of the universe, wants to bless this. You going and being the one to that friend in need. And it might get messy for a while, but with time and focus, and especially with the blessing of the Lord, they can get their lives cleaned up. Inwardly, that's what they need. Inwardly, that's what you know that they need and what you want for them. Don't be afraid of the mess. In fact, God gives you an encouragement about that. We're in Luke chapter 21. I love these words. I love them. God says this. He says, but make up your mind not to worry beforehand about how you will defend yourselves. For I will give you words and wisdom that none of your adversaries will be able to resist or contradict. Make up your mind ahead of time. Do not worry. God goes with you. The holy God of the universe loves you. The holy God of the universe loves your friend that is in need. Be the one that goes to them with the gospel message of peace of Jesus, and watch God do what God does. Do not worry. God will give you what to say.